Hi guys, welcome back or welcome if you're new. My name is Tiana and I'm the maker behind Also Stitched, and today we have weekly makes. It's actually more than a week, it's around 10 days. Usually between my two uni markets there are 2 weeks or fortnight. I'm never crocheting full 14 days. Actually one day is considered market day, and then I need another day to recover from that market because it is such a long day and I'm usually disheveled the day after. I can't do anything. I'm just vegging and yeah. It's awful how painful those markings can be on your body, and just sitting on that chair for 8 hours is a lot. This is considered as a 10-day makes. In my last video, I shared half of my makes, and I'm gonna quickly just run you through everything. I'm not gonna go into details about the patterns because I did whole review in my last video, so I'm gonna link that video down below and feel free to check it out. But I'm gonna run you through because it goes into my inventory between those two markets, and I'm trying to keep up with my inventory. I'm still trying to crochet more than I'm selling. So for the past two markets I sold around $1,000 of inventory, and I'm trying to crochet more than $1,000 because I only have 6 weeks until Supernova. And if you consider everything that I have crocheted in these 2 weeks or fortnight between those two markets, I only have 3 times that. So in this 10 days or 1 week, I crocheted, let me double check the inventory value. That is $1,160. So that is definitely more than I'm selling. But if I think that this was in 2 weeks and I have 3 times that until Supernova, I will only have an extra $3,500 without it selling, because as you saw in my last two markets, I've been selling $1,000. So at the moment, I'm not gonna lie, I am really stressed that I'm gonna be low on my stock and I'm already feeling burnt out. I'm feeling sick of crocheting Pokemons. I'm not gonna lie, it's a lot, and I did some changes this week just because I wanted to keep myself engaged, fun, and still interested in crochet without burning out 6 weeks before Supernova. I've been embroidering a lot and I'm gonna show you everything that I'm embroidering. My goal for Supernova is to have at least $3,000 worth of stock in my embroidery keychains. At least that's gonna save my inventory because I cannot physically crochet more than I'm already doing. And honestly, I've been knitting a lot less and I'm desperately missing knitting because knitting is very comforting for me and relaxing. Let's quickly go through my inventory and everything that I did. I will start with everything that I showed you last week, just quick rundown, and then we will go to everything new and talk about the new patterns. I have 4 sleeping dragons and I will be selling these for $48 each. I have 2 sleeping foxes and I will be selling these for $48 each. I have 4 new Pokemons from Crafted for Comfort and I will be selling these between $50 and $60 depending on how complicated they are. Feel free to check my last video when I talk about more in details about how I'm pricing each one of these. And I have 3 Dittos. These are no-sew Dittos from Crafted for Comfort and I will be selling these $25 each. And that was everything I showed you already last week, so we will go into the new things that I made since then. I'm gonna start with the smaller Pokemons from Backmate Studio that I have remade this week. I did 2 Umbreon, I did 2 Espion. Umbreon and Espion is usually the first one to sell, that's why I went with multiples of those. And I did Moslax again, but when I was making Moslax, I kind of wanted to finish the whole skein and I was curious how much can I get out of one skein. I got 4 of them, but I actually have 5 of them because I have another skein open. So I did 5 Moslax. I do not expect all 5 of these to sell, but I was just in the mood not to change pattern and go through one pattern because it's definitely easier working on one pattern rather than shifting, I don't know, 5 of them. So yeah, I'm selling Moslax for $25 and Espion and Umbreon for $28. And don't forget, I'm in Australia and I'm talking Australian dollars. And honestly, those are the only Pokemons that I did. So I did 9 of them, and last time I sold 11 of them, which is a lot, but I still have 4 in stock. Plus I do have Ditto. I made 3 Dittos and I think I'm good. I was just too burned out working on Pokemons. I'm not gonna lie, because I feel like that's the only thing that I will be making until Supernova and I'm already done. I don't want to see any Pokemons, but oh well. I was completely out of my capybara, so I made only one. This pattern is by Crochet Code AU. I love this pattern. It is really nice, quick make. It is not tipping down, and I love that the pattern offers an orange on top of capybara's head. These are selling really good for me. I'm selling these for $28 and they are such a quick and easy make. I'm making these in Elise Veluto, same as all of my Backmade Studio Pokemons. Those are all made in Elise Veluto. Honestly, after I was done with all the Pokemons and everything, I decided I'm not gonna crochet any more Pokemons. I need a change. I need something different. And then I remembered that my $18 plushie basket is running really low and I only have like gray and weird colors of plushies, and that I have sold anything of any color. So I went back and made two chicks. These are all from Jade Swing Animal pattern. I think what she has in her pattern is either mallard or penguin. I always forget what it is. I just make it in a yellow without swing and I'm selling this for $18. These are made in Yarn Smith's Flurry yarn and I have completely used all my skein. I don't see myself repurchasing this yarn. It was fun to work with it, but I'm just gonna switch to basic chenille yarn now that I have used all of this yarn. So I have two chicks, like I mentioned, all from Jade Swing Animals pattern. Then I made one manatee. I've already had this manatee. This is from Poggy's Place pattern. It is her critters pack. She has multiple packs when it comes to critters. I bought it in the pack with something else. I don't know. Everything is gonna be linked down below so you will be able to find what it is. These are such a quick make and they are so nice. This one is done in Hobby Honey Bunny, I think. I have some leftovers of those yarns that I don't like. I actually prefer Hobby Toucan rather than Hobby Honey Bunny, just because Hobby Toucan is a bit thicker and it holds its shape better, and the finish is better on Hobby Toucan than this. You can see how, let me just show you the comparison in texture between two plushes done in two yarns. So this is Honey Bunny and this is Toucan. I just prefer the look of these stitches and the yarn rather than this. So yeah, one manatee from Poggy's Place. And then I remade my hippos. I did two of them. I loved just because they give some color to my basket. They are such a quick make and they've been selling really good. So all of these mini plushies I sell for $18 and I have no problem selling them for $18. They're very cute. They're a good size and kids love them. Kids love anything colorful. So yeah. And from little critter links that I'm making for the keychains, I made two pigs because I've sold both pigs on my last markets and I decided I'm just gonna make two more. I'm really lacking in my keychain section and I really need to work more on those plushies, especially with the new water pack or whatever bundle latest that she has released. I still didn't work any plushie out of that pattern and I would really love to, but for now I did two pigs and yeah, these are gonna be just the keychains. I sell my keychains for $15 each. And for my last pattern, smaller pattern, you will see I have two bigger plushie makes. I did Luma just because, like I mentioned in one of my last videos, I'm testing what is trending among students because that will help me to decide which products I'm gonna make multiples for Supernova. I know the Super Mario movie is out. My kids have watched it in cinema and I was curious, why is Luma trending? I know it's a movie, but I was curious why Luma. So I asked my daughter, what is it with Luma that it is trending? And apparently it is something that she says in the movie, which sounds different than what was meant to be. I'm not gonna say it out loud, but yeah, that's kind of the reason that Luma is trending and being a meme. So yeah, so I decided just to make one Luma. This is free pattern off of Instagram and I will be linking this pattern down below. It is fairly quickly make. You do sew arms on top, and just for comparison, this is the size against Ditto. I will be selling both of these for $25. So yeah, I think in general she's smaller than the other Ditto that I was making that you had to sew his arms on. She's a bit smaller because she has less in the round and it's fairly easier to make her than it was the sewing Ditto. So I'm completely fine with selling her for $25. They're gonna be probably displayed next to each other. So yeah, just one Luma to help me test if she's trending among students or is it more for kids. I'm not targeting kids as my customers or whatever. I'm targeting young adults. And then I decided to make a new pattern to me and a new character to me. I am not into this series, but my son is, and he's the one who requested these. He actually requested one of these for birthday gift for one of his friends. So I made Luffy and Chopper. I've never watched this series. I don't know a lot about this series. I know it's a very long series and there's like hundreds and hundreds of episodes. He did watch some of them. I think he needs a lifetime to finish all of this series, but he's pretty much into these characters and he said that these are definitely gonna sell at Supernova and that I should make multiples. I was looking for a size that's gonna be small but not like big plushy, like nothing around $100. So I went with these two. Pattern is by Emili Artwork and it will be linked down below. Let's start with Chopper. Chopper was the first one to make and he was pretty easy. The body is very simply constructed. It is just a small body with bubble stitches and then the head is just bigger. So when it comes to their bodies, it is quick make. The biggest make you have is the bucket head and then you have these reindeer horns that are sewn onto the head. So the head is fully removable. You can sew the head on. I just wasn't bothered. I prefer it to be removable. I find Chopper a quicker make than Luffy just because of the hair. I love this pattern. I can't fault this pattern for anything. They have such a cute face feature. Bucket head was so easy to make. Horns, nothing special. There was nothing hard about this pattern. In the photos, it looks a bit smaller than I expected it, but I'm fine with the size. This is done in Hobby Toucan chenille yarn, and let me double check. I'm gonna price Chopper for $65. It sounds a lot, but it is a character, and I can easily price it down if I see that it is not selling or that students react to the price. That's why I'm bringing it to my uni markets to test it among students to see should I make multiples for Supernova or not. But I think anything One Piece series is popular and trending, so I don't see why these wouldn't sell. Honestly, I don't know. I think these are gonna at least draw attention even if they don't sell, because these are very recognizable. There are so many patterns that you can choose on Etsy, but I wanted something like a smaller size. I mean, you can see a really good size for $65. When it comes to Luffy, I'm gonna price him $70 just because he's a lot more work. The body and the head are same as Chopper, the same size, the same style, nothing harder, or there are some color changes, but I don't find that hard. The problem with Luffy is the hair. He has a lot of hair, and the good thing about this pattern is the hair is glued on. I wouldn't be able to sew this on. I would hate myself if I had to sew this on. I used hot glue gun and this was so easy to glue on, and I don't mind gluing it. I didn't glue it fully. You can see I left his top of the hair not fully glued just to look more like natural. I don't know. I find it easier. So all of this part is glued, but the tips are not, because I also didn't want any glue sticking out or being visible. Head also takes some time, same as for Chopper, just because it is a big head and a big head. So yeah, the only thing I changed was this belt. I think in the pattern you're supposed to just make chain and then sew the belt on. That just didn't sound right for me. So I did surface surface crochet the belt, and then this part was sticking out a lot, and then I hot glue it down just to tack it down so it's not sticking out. But yeah, I do think he looks really cute. He's nice size, and I don't see the reason they would not sell. These ears are surface crocheted, everything else is pretty much no sew because you're gluing the hair. And with this plushie, you are sewing the horns to the hat, and that's it. Everything else is no sew. My only thing is and even my son said that he's too pale. I choose the wrong skin color for him. I have a lot of this color. Originally, my goal was to use this color just to stash it down. And I think this color would suit Luffy. And then I do have another darker shade of skin tone that I should have used for Chopper. That's just my future plans. I'm gonna switch some skin colors in the future because he does look too white for a pirate boy. So yeah, pirates are usually very suntanned and he is too pale for that. And that was the first thing my son saw him. He said, he's too pale. Why did you make him so pale? I'm like, yeah, I agree. But oh well, next time it's gonna look better. I really enjoyed making these patterns. These were really fun and cute, and I don't know, like with any pattern I enjoyed first time, but if I would have to make this another 10, I would probably get sick of it. So we'll see how long this will last. I'm curious to see if they will sell on my next uni market, which is in only a couple of days. I still need to photo shoot all my products, put them in Shopify, print barcodes, tag products, so I have a lot of work just to preparing for this market, but I'm looking forward to all of these new makes, how are students gonna react and which one are gonna attract crowds and sell. So yeah, that was from Emili Artwork. She has a lot of cute patterns, so feel free to check her Etsy for any other characters. I might explore more of her patterns, but at the moment these two were what I was actually actively looking for. Alright, last when it comes to crochet this fortnight, you remember I sold my tapestry, both of my tapestry, which I honestly didn't expect to sell, but I was really happy. I mentioned that they are really not profitable business move to make because how many hours it takes to create a tapestry. And that is true. I'm not making them from the perspective of any smart business move. I'm just destashing my yarn and switching my crochet because I got bored making all of those Pokemons and I needed something different, and then I decided I'm gonna make another tapestry. The way I make my tapestry, I'm designing them on my own in stitch fiddle. It is up to you what you wanna do, how wide, how tall you wanna do it. You can play with stitch fiddle so much that you can design anything. It is good for knitting, for crocheting, for cross stitch, anything. Feel free to check it out and play with it because it is such a nice free tool that you can utilize for anything like that. So since Pokemons are selling and Ditto is very popular, I decided to try a Ditto, and this is what it looks like. It is definitely wider than it is taller, but I love it. I like the way it looks. It was really easy to make. And the fun fact, since this is one blob of color, I could easily do it in intarsia, and back is reversible because I didn't have to carry yarn on. I only had one bobbin for this side of white, one bobbin of this, and these black parts were easily just a couple of bobbins. They were quick to switch and get rid of. So I only had one bobbin for, I actually didn't have a bobbin, I was having a skein of yarn for the purple Ditto part. So yeah, it is really nice and reversible. I mean, you can tell the difference. This is the front, and that's how you crochet around your dowel to make the difference in the front. So this was just a fun project. I think this took me between 3 and 4 hours, which is quite a lot of work, but it was very mindless and very relaxing. There is nothing hard about this. If you remember my wizard frog, I'm gonna insert a photo so that I can reference what I'm talking. I made a huge mistake when I was designing that frog. I did the black outline. When you are making an outline on any design, you are doubling the work because for unnecessary reason you have to do that black stitch around all the perimeter of the design for no reason. I could easily left out that black and leave it in green, purple, whatever the other colors were. And that was the biggest mistake. That's why that took forever. You can find the pixel art easily on Pinterest, but they all have that black design around them. And I was like, I don't want to do that. It's taking too much time when if I made it one color on a white background, it's easy. Imagine going black around it. That is so much work, and that would take me double the time. So this time I decided to avoid the black, and any future designs that I want to do, I will make sure to avoid any outlines just for the ease of crocheting. So yeah, this took around 3 to 4 hours, and let me double check how I'm gonna charge this. I put down $35, and I think that is okay. It is definitely bigger than my goose. My goose was 20 by 20 and I sold it for $20. This one is 35 by 29, while my wizard frog was around 45 by 65. That wizard frog was a lot of work and I sold that one for 45. So I think 35 for this one is a pretty good deal, and we'll see how trending are gonna be Pokemons in Tapestry. I might do some more. I was already playing and designing some new ones, but I really have no rush into making these because they are not as profitable as plushies. But I also had a space on my grid walls when those two were hanging, so I was like, let's just make one to test how the crowds are gonna react. And that was all when it comes to crochet. I'm gonna show you all of my embroidered keychains or snap tabs. I'm calling them snap tabs at the moment, but I will explain why I won't be calling them snap tabs for the future. Let me just tell you one more time. So all of my crochet was $1,163, and when it comes to my snap tabs, I have $460, which means I did 46 snap tabs. I'm pricing them at $10 at the moment, and for this year I will see if I will raise the price for the next year. I'm happy with this price at the moment because I'm still testing the market with these snap tabs. They were selling good last year at Supernova, but I didn't have a lot to choose from, so we'll see how it's gonna go this year. I still need to have a beautiful display for them, and I will have a lot. My goal is to have at least 300 of them, which will bring another $3,000 to my inventory. Okay, I'm just gonna pull out one to explain what they are. I'm actually gonna show you example. I'm thinking now, did I show any of these last time? Here is one of the examples that I already have everything on. So I have the ring swivel keychain part of them. I have my snap tabs in, and the design is Sylveon. Of course, I'm focusing again on Pokemons. This is a quite heavy stitch out, and these Pokemons do take a long time just because of the black outline they have. They are really heavy stitch out. So at the moment, I'm only doing like 2 to 4 of each, just to test them on markets, and then for Supernova I will do multiples. I'm yet to make all of them. I bought so many files, but I don't have vinyl in all the colors that I need. Vinyl is on my way, so yeah, I'm still working through all of these. The reason why I'm not gonna call them snap tabs, why is this called snap tab? Because this is snap tab, okay? And then you can remove the metal part. I did one market when the stall holder kid bought a chick from me. It was, I have it here. It was this chick. So he bought this chick and he returned it because the snap tab didn't hold. This is very nice to fidget with. It sounds nice, it feels nice, and if you are a fidgeter, you're gonna play with this. And I don't want that, because I'm glad that that kid came back and said this broke. My only thing I could tell him is, well, don't play with it. It's not meant to be played with, but it's not something that I can expect kids not to do. So to resolve that problem, I'm switching to rivets. Rivets are gonna be smaller and they are gonna be metal because I want them uniform, clean, and same. I don't want to struggle with different colors because all of these rivets, you see, are different colors. I just want to get rid of decision fatigue of making decision which color of the snap tab I'm gonna use. So I'm switching to silver rivets with silver hardware so that I don't have to think of anything. They're all gonna be the same and uniform and safe. No one is gonna be able to open them because rivets are actually cheaper than snap tabs, because for snap tabs you need two parts and you need female and male here, but for the rivets you are punching them through the both and no one can open them. And then this is secured in. There is no chance of people losing keys or anything. There is also a problem if this breaks, no one can change it. But I can't satisfy everything. My goal is to make this durable, long-lasting, and without chance of anyone breaking it. So that's why I'm switching to rivets. I have 1/3 of these designs that I have put snap tabs on because that was before I made this decision. But everything rest, I didn't put my rivets on because materials are still on my way. I bought a professional Cam Snap to install my rivets. Cam Snap is a business from US who is making all of these tools very well. Like, it's not cheap China tool. I do have some of cheap China tools, but I decided to invest to a more expensive tools because I do see myself making this long term. I enjoy embroidery a lot and I had so much fun creating all of these keychains. So yeah, my tools are gonna arrive in a couple of days, unfortunately the day when I'm on the market, so I won't be able to do any of these. But this is, for example, Sylvian. I think I made 4 of the Sylvians, and here is the problem that I have. You see, I have 2 different shades of pinks and I just don't want to have this colorful mess. I want it to be clean and uniform. So once my tools arrive, I can easily change this to rivets, or I can just leave it and wait for it to sell, and everything new that I make, I'm just gonna make in rivets. I'm gonna show you rivets for the next week because they will definitely be here, and I'm just gonna quickly run down through everything that I make. I'm not gonna hold you for a long time. I'm just gonna run you through the characters that I have. So I have 4 Sylvian, and all of these don't have the metal parts because I can do that on market. I have time to finish those. I did 1 Haku. These are all Pokemon characters. I'm not sure if you will be able to recognize them. This is Snom. I have 2 of Snom, 3 Leafian. I have 2 One Piece. So this is the symbol of these characters, in case you don't know. I actually made 3 of these, but my son took 1 as a birthday gift. So yeah, I have 2 One Piece heads. And then I have Mushroom House. Please, guys, let me know if you recognize whose house is this, because this house brings so much memories from my childhood. I'm an early 80s child, and let me show you the rest. These guys were very famous when I was a kid. Of course, I have all of them, and they are Smurfs. And just seeing this house brings so much memories. I adored this cartoon. This was one of my favorite. And I can still remember the song and the graphics and everything. I don't know. It just brings so much memories that it makes me feel happy. I don't know how to explain this. But I made all of them and I made only 1. I'm not sure how popular are Smurfs. Could be at Supernova, because at Supernova we do get an older generation of millennials who recognize these characters and they bring memories, just like for me. I feel so happy just seeing these guys, and I hope they will for some people at Supernova. Of course, I have Gargamel. I'm not sure how you're saying all of these things in English, because those are the movies that I have watched when I was a kid. I didn't speak English at that time, and I think we were pronouncing them more in French, because if I remember correctly, this is Belgium movie production, whatever, so I think they are in French. Smurfs, yeah, we call them Schtroumpfovi, and I remember, I think it is coming from a French word. It doesn't matter. I don't know. They are so cute. I have 1 of each. If any sells, I will be happy to remake multiples, but this is just the test run to see how people are gonna react. I didn't make the cat because I don't have orange vinyl at the moment, but I will make the cat for sure. I have another 2 Pokemons. This is Mimikyu. Then I have Patrick the Star. Of course, I have SpongeBob. We have another Pokemon, Psyduck. Speaking of ducks, I did the killer duck, knife duck, murder duck, psycho duck, whatever you want to call this guy. And then I did 3 of the little chicks. These chicks have been selling really good for me. And when you compare the stitch out for this chick and stitch out for this chick, this takes like 10 minutes while this takes half an hour, and these are selling so good. I'm surprised. And then we have 3 minions. I'm not gonna even try to remember which one is which. I know this is Kevin and this is Bob and Stuart, but I always confuse which one is which. I made 4 Gengar. I did this one on the black vinyl, but I'm also gonna make the same design on the purple vinyl. I did 2 Jigglypuff, 2 Mew, and 4 of the Umbreon. And that is it. That is 46 keychains. I have so many more planned. I think I have over 50 already in stock from my old stock. So that is already 100. And my goal is to have at least 300 in total. And I can easily achieve that by Supernova because I am embroidering around 4 to 5 a day. I could definitely do more, but I have problem being in this room while the machine is running. I suffer from vertigo, and sitting in this room while the machine is running, this whole room is shaking and it's making me feel sick. So I'm running machine when I'm a school run, a morning, afternoon, when I'm cooking, when I'm cleaning. Anytime that I'm not in this room, I'm hooping my machine and it's working. And I could easily make 4 to 5 a day just with the time that I'm not spending in this room. So this is all, guys. So with everything that I have crocheted and embroidered, I added $1,623 value to my inventory, and that was 80 items. Out of those 80, 34 were crochet plushes. I'm really happy. Embroidery is saving me, definitely. I'm just hoping that it's gonna sell with all these new characters that I'm bringing in. Even though I'm crocheting way less and I will be struggling for Supernova, I'm still not gonna beat myself up. There's nothing I can do. At the same time that I'm crocheting and embroidering this, I'm also doing a spring-autumn clean of the whole house. We are in autumn, you guys are in spring, and you're also probably doing spring clean. And by the time I finish this autumn clean, it's gonna be spring and I could start all over again, because I just don't have time to dedicate 3 or 4 days to fully deep clean my house. I'm doing daily bit by bit, and honestly by the time I finish it, it's gonna be spring and I could start all again. But oh well, I'm definitely knitting less and I'm missing it a lot. But yeah, I'm just gonna not beat myself and put too much pressure on me, because this is not gonna be sustainable if I'm gonna kill myself for this Supernova market and stress about it too much, because it's really not worth. I think if I could have $6,000 of crochet inventory for Supernova, that should be okay. Last year I sold $5,000, and last year I was in Artist Alley. And this time I'm in Exhibitor Hall. That's why I think I need more, because I paid $1,000 more just to be in Exhibitor Hall, but it is not worth my mental health and my physical health. So that's why I'm focusing more on embroidery, and I have made the decision I'm not bringing t-shirts this year for Supernova. My keychains are gonna be the only product that I will be bringing in, and that's it. I'm completely fine with that. And that is it for this video, guys. Stay tuned for my next video, because market is in only 2 days and I will be vlogging again and recapping, and I'm really curious if it's gonna be as good as last 2. I really don't expect it to be, but let's aim for $500. I will be completely happy with $500. Anything above that, it's gonna be wow. Alright, with all of that, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, happy crafting.